we think matters of defecation hygiene are important, and they are extremely important to be the leader of the free world, because you wouldn't want to go to a G7 summit shitting in your pants. The other heads of state uh, might pay less attention to you. Okay, hello, Politicon YouTubers. We're back to you from the great New York City, where we are having a theatrical premiere of the documentary Carville, Winning is Everything Stupid. And we always love to be in New York. We love to be here this time of year. It's great. The weather's wonderful. I want to share a few things with you, regulars who pay attention to this site and have followed us. And of course, what's exploded, and now President Obama is onto it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Uh, the late night people are onto it, and it's now part of the news coverage that Donald John Trump smells like shit, and he can't stop farting. And we covered this. We started covering this back in December of 2023 because we feel like we have to bring the news to you, and even if it's unpleasant or causes some discomfort in discussing it, we think matters of defecation hygiene are important, and they are extremely important to be the leader of the free world, because you wouldn't want to go to a G7 summit shitting in your pants. The other heads of state uh, might pay less attention to you. And of course, there's well documented uh, evidence of him farting in courts and farting all over the place. And okay, uh, people fart, and there's not much we can do about that. But he seems to do it excessively, and has an inability to control it to some extent. And we've also discovered, with more than a preponderance of the evidence, that he wears diapers. You can look it up. You can make your own evaluation, but it's pretty clearly that this man wears diapers. And we are also very scientific. This is not a fly by night thing. We believe in science. We don't quote do our own research unquote, because the hurricanes are made up or whatever bullshit you get. And because we do, now everybody is on the fact that, okay, he's farting all the time. He has to wear a diaper. He shits in his pants. That's pretty well accepted by mainstream science by now. But we like to challenge things. And we challenge that because we think that part of his odor profile, which is putrid, large hints of sulfur, much sulfur in his odor profile, barnyard smells, uh, general putrid, disgusting odors that emanate from his body. But because we are scientific people and we follow science, we like Dr. Fauci of things. Science tells us something, we follow it. And the indications from the scientific community is quite simply that he is unable to wipe his arse. That's right. A man might be elected to be president of the United States that we have concluded to a almost scientific certainty by using such elaborate equations as the length of his arm, the length of his fingers, the circumference of his gut, and the circumference of his ass subtracted from, oh, excuse me, arse. I'm sorry, I had a little lapse here. I don't want you to think that we're not on top of our game and treating it seriously, but you also have to factor in the large circumference of his sphincter. It's generally a sphincter is a high-class term for, well, an arsehole. Uh, and our sleuths and young scientists have concluded that this man cannot engage in self-defecation hygiene. That's right, self-defecation hygiene. That is a fancy, elaborate, uh, scientific medical way to say he's incapable of wiping his own arse. And of course, that would produce odor of high concentration, which is apparently what we're getting. Uh, I think we have to stay on this. We have a role, and our role is to take scientific evidence, apply vigorous, truthful, uh, highly high degree of integrity in our journalism. We pointed out to other journalists that Keith Schiller stole his medical records from his internist in January 2017. We don't know if there's evidence of VD or clap or syphilis or gonorrhea or whatever you call it. We do know he did have red splotches on his hand, which is a indication. When you present these symptoms to a physician, the first thing they're going to do is look and see if could have syphilis, and very, very serious consequences of long-term untreated syphilis, which may have been in those medical records. We don't know. Which, by the way, his internist was a GI specialist. Have who you want as the internist. I think the guy treats me as cardio focused, but okay, maybe he picked him because Trump had some pretty profound GI. That's gastrointestinal, I think, is the kind of fancy word for it. We don't know from his medical records whether he had this problem with defecation, self-hygiene, even prior to the 2016 election. Of course, no one in, we can't get anybody to take a serious look at this. But my thing is, this is a very fundamental issue that really needs to be explored at the highest level of journalism. We need inquisitive people, is to whether or not our president, who's sent abroad to represent this country, stinks so fucking much that no one can get within a square mile of him, which I think is probably the case. But let me assure you, my dear fellow Politicon YouTubers, that we will, without fear, we will continue to pursue the science. We'll continue to be governed by what the evidence tells us. The evidence is overwhelming, almost beyond any doubt, that the man smells like shit. The evidence is overwhelming that there's some issue here. And it's certainly reasonable to assume that he just is incapable of stop farting and shitting all over himself. But there's other evidence that's pretty persuasive and pretty conclusive that he can't clean up after his own mess, which also presents its own problems. But we're going to continue to vigorously pursue this little corner of journalism that we think is very critical knowledge that people should have before they go vote and consider whether or not they're going to vote for this fat tub of large sack of fucking shit, because that's exactly what I think of him. So we'll see you probably midweek, a little bit later in the week, and come back, and I'm sure that more evidence will come in that will buttress our already overwhelmingly solid case that the man does have defecation issues, and he also can't stop farting. And we'll continue to pursue that, and I look forward to your comments. And we'll see you later. Have a nice October. And Halloween is coming up, but more than all, let's just win this goddamn election. Thank you and goodbye.